Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line, giving you some good information tonight. We're talking about elder law, certainly as people are now signing up for Medicare, Medicaid with open enrollment. Some opportunities to call in and get some of your questions answered. Two guests via Zoom, both from Takis McGinnis, the elder care law firm. We have partner Chris Johnson with us and Medicare specialist Josh Hunter, both there in the same office in different rooms. And we were talking about trusts with you, Chris, as we were, talking with Josh about Medicare, and he brought up the point, don't just do what, ask your friend and kind of follow their lead. One size doesn't fit all. You kind of wanted to piggyback off that, right?
I absolutely did. The having your planning individually tailored is of vital importance to make sure that your plan is meeting your needs. And so when someone comes in and says, I want X trust, one of the first questions I'll ask them is, why do you want that one? Because oftentimes the typical client comes in and isn't really sure what they want. They say, I'm new to this area. I'm trying to get my ducks in a row, and we're reaching out to a professional because we expect you to have the answers. But it's not that uncommon for someone to come in with very specific requests. And I'll always want to unpack that. And what I tell the client is, the reason I'm asking this is, if I understand why you want what you want and why you're asking for what you're asking for, the specific trust, then I can understand if that specific trust is going to meet your needs and your goals. Are we going to allay some of your worries, and are we going to provide you the most protection we can? And when they understand that, that's important, because then if I recommend something different, they're not disappointed. They come here and they wanted X and we give them Y. If they don't understand why we did something different than what their expectations were, they can be frustrated, they can be disappointed. And I want to make sure that we address that right up front. Part of our client meetings is an educational process. And I tell them the first thing I want to do is I want to listen. I want to hear what their worries are. I want to know what their goals are. I want to know why they came in. Why today? Why did we have this meeting today? And if they have those specific requests, like I want this trust or I want that trust. I've had someone come in and say, Chris, I want a pet trust. And you can do that. I mean, there are literally tons of different types of trusts out there, and different types of trusts that meet different needs. And so the trust that serves Medicaid planning purposes well isn't the trust that you want for VA purposes. And a revocable living trust that you're just looking for probate avoidance isn't going to help with either of those planning tools. And so people need to understand that. And what happens is we're all guilty of it to one extent or another. We always ask our neighbors, ask our community, ask our circle of friends, hey, what did you do when this came up? And then we get that answer and we feel like we have a little bit of information. And what we have in reality is just enough information to be dangerous to ourselves. And so I always tell people, let's come in with an open mind. Let me provide you all the information that I possibly can provide you, and then have the client make an informed decision based on all the facts.
Just enough information to be dangerous. I think you've hit the nail on the head for a lot of people. All right, let's go to another caller here. Deweese, I believe, is that right? Deweese?
Yes.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
All right. I'm on Social Security disability, but yes. I'm on Social Security disability, but I'm at the age where I'm able to be on Medicare. For some reason, I cannot get on Medicare. Why is it? I'm paying my own insurance, and the premiums and the copay is eating me up.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks.
I'm sad to hear that.
Do you need more information there, Josh, or?
I don't. I think I have a feeling of what the issue could be. So he's hit on a good point for all of our listeners tonight. Medicare is not only for those who are 65 and older. It also applies to individuals who have been on disability for 24 consecutive months, right? 2 years on disability straight, which I think might be part of the reason that's applying to this situation. But it also applies to people on end-stage renal disease or who are dealing with Lou Gehrig's disease. There's a couple different ways you can qualify for Medicare. So going back to his question of, he's on disability, why doesn't he qualify for Medicare? That's ultimately a question for Social Security, because it's likely that either he hasn't been on for 24 consecutive months yet, depending on when they set his date. Sometimes Social Security will backdate when you qualify for disability, or there could be some issue on their end where they don't have things logged properly. At the same time, we see situations that pop up where an individual also has TennCare, which is Tennessee's Medicaid, and they may stand on TennCare solo without picking up Medicaid. So it really depends on his situation. It's likely going to be a question for Social Security, but hopefully the takeaway is that you can qualify for Medicare in a couple of different ways. And it's important that you understand who you need to talk to for your situation. And getting started with Medicare, it's going to be Social Security.
And that 2-year thing, that could be the issue here.
I have a feeling it.
Yeah, that could be the issue. All right, thanks for that call. Again, your call there helps others with maybe what they're going through, so appreciate that call. All right, I want to ask you, Chris. I feel like Tim Takis, who's been on this show obviously many times, I think he said trusts are man's greatest invention. Is that right? Does he say that? Does he walk around the office saying that?
I'm not sure we have it on the walls anywhere, but it's not far from the truth. There's so much good that they do. The good, the special needs trusts who allow people who are dealing with disabilities or whatnot to have assets that can improve their lives while not bumping them off government benefits, so that they can have some of the enjoyment from money that was meant for them, while understanding that their costs, day-to-day costs, are typically catastrophic, and they wouldn't otherwise be able to enjoy those funds. It allows for the avoidance of probate, which for a lot of families is the right thing and the better way of going about doing things, that they don't need to have their estate pass under the light of judicial scrutiny. They can do it inside the family because everyone's above board. The irrevocable trust, to make sure that money isn't squandered or protected from so many of the bad things that can happen in life, from divorces, from bankruptcies, from other lawsuits, from protecting the family farm that's been, we've had people who come in with a family farm, it's been in their family for 100 years, and they don't want to see it lost to estate recovery or anything like that. And it protects against just sometimes the bad judgment of family members. And so there's a whole host of reasons why you would want to trust, and a whole host of good things that those trusts are able to do. And a lot of people, for some reason, still believe that trusts are kind of for the Hilton families and the Marriott families and the Vanderbilts of the world, that those are the people who have money for trust, when it's just not the case. Your average everyday person having a revocable living trust just in their basic estate planning is exceedingly wise. And as we get older and get near retirement, doing some estate planning and tying in asset protection, it's just wise and prudent to do. I often liken it to the tax rules. We don't go to our tax preparer and say, hey, I don't want to take these deductions. I shouldn't take, we all take the lawful deductions that we're allowed. And this trust planning they're parts of the code that happen to be favorable to the citizens, and they should be taking advantage of them.
Fascinating. Yeah, because I do think there's some people who might say, yeah, that's just for, you said the Vanderbilts, the Hiltons, super wealthy.
That's right.
But you're saying that's not the case. And all right, just briefly, revocable trust, what does that mean? What does that mean?
So here's an easy way to remember. A revocable trust, think of it like the hokey pokey. You put your right foot in, you take your right foot out. Anything you put into a revocable trust, you can take out at any time. You can change the trust at any time, because by definition, it's revocable. It's your trust. And so what you want to have in it, you can put in it. What you want to take out, you can take out of it. You can amend it, change the terms, whatever you need to do. With an irrevocable trust, that's where you're kind of firing and forgetting. Like, okay, I am putting this asset into the trust, and I am truly transferring legal title. It is no longer mine. Someone else is going to manage it. There's going to be a trustee who will not be the grantor, and that asset will be managed in accordance with the terms of the trust, and the ability to amend that trust or change the terms of that trust are greatly limited and impaired, because you are cutting ties with the property property that you've placed in the trust.
And so when would it be good for me to put a house in a trust?
I think when you're in, one of the rules I like to say is, and it doesn't have to be this way, this is more of a kind of a rule of thumb. If you are retiring and you believe you're in your forever home, that's a great time to put a home into a trust, because what we want to do, these trusts, TennCare has a 5-year look-back clock, and what it does is it penalizes you for any transfers of wealth for less than fair market value, what you and I would refer to as gifts. And so you want to make sure that whatever you transfer into that trust, that you have time, that you don't suspect that you will need TennCare services for the next 5 years. And so you're hitting 65, 67, you're thinking about hanging it up, retiring, you're in your home, and this is my home. We're not going to move. This is where we want to be. Transfer that home into an irrevocable trust, and then you're going to make it through that 5-year look-back clock. And that's always the big hang-up. I get people ask me all the time, well, 5 years, it's just such a long period of time. Do people really put these in a 5-year look-back trust and then live through it? And I'm like, absolutely. The prudent planners do. And I often say that those people that have the home and have it paid off, when they come to see us, it is just another good decision in a long line of decisions, because they have assets that are worth protecting. If you own your home outright, you have an asset worth protecting, and you need to look at being prudent to make sure that that money is going to be there for the next generation.
That's great advice. Right there is great advice. All right, so we have to take a break, and there's a number. If you want to call in, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587, talking elder law. That was great about trusts, and also talking about if you're signing up for Medicare at this moment, as many people are. So we'll take a break, be back with more questions right after this.